What began as a quiet day turned out into one of the most creatively nourishing experiences I've had in a long time. I didn't even know I needed it until I was there. Hello and welcome to the Planet Pearl YouTube channel, and this is episode 2 of the Home Sweet Home Quilt series. If you're new here, hi, I'm Pearlin and I'm on a journey to finish a quilt that I started more than 15 years ago. It's embroidered and I'm hand quilting it for the very first time. I'm not quite sure if what I'm doing counts as kanta or shashiko. It's more an inspired approach, especially influenced by my Kawandi quilt, and today I want to take you to a place that unexpectedly filled my creative cup. I went to the Aotearoa Quilt Symposium and it was absolutely magical. I walked in after a really big nudge from Jacob to go in and enjoy the exhibition by myself. I had no plan, no expectations, just a little time to myself and a vague hope that I might see something beautiful. What I wasn't prepared for was being completely blown away. The colors, the details, the absolute love that poured into every stitch. It was like walking through a living, breathing storybook. I was just soaking it all in, quietly and gratefully. Different interpretations of the themes where creativity overflowed. It was absolutely breathtaking. There were 2 quilts that gave me goosebumps, the kind that fills you deep in the soul with feeling. I didn't take any notes, I just stood there. I let myself feel the soul behind what those quilts were saying. It reminded me that quilting isn't just a craft, it's art. It's a powerful voice just like any other art, but I personally think that it's harder to bring feelings into fabric and stitches. I may be wrong, but that's just my personal opinion. As I walked through the halls, I kept thinking about the quilts I saw in Kuwait. My own Home Sweet Home Quilt I started when I was younger, when life was in a different season. It's stitched with memories, hopes, and maybe a little grief too. And it's waited all these years to be finished. These embroidered blocks were part of a stitch along I joined many years ago, like I said in the previous episode, and I don't even remember which blog it was from anymore. It has since disappeared, and each week a new design would arrive in my inbox and I would drop everything to stitch each one, and each one holds a memory. It's like a form of self-care. I really loved stitching this heart, and this is another one of my favorite block, and there's a sheep that I always love sheep, and a bird house, that's another one of my favorite. And I was really disappointed that there was nothing for these, no motifs to go with these letters. And now looking at them all together, I see the little choices I made without overthinking, stitching the colors, the borders, the tiny details that I added. They weren't perfect, but they were full of joy, and that to me is the soul of my handmade. Seeing those quilts, those stories, reminded me that this quilt needs to be finished as well. with the same care, the same attention. And I'm not looking for perfection, but soaking all the memories that it brings and carries with it, and just enjoy the whole process of finishing it. When I decided to piece these blocks into a quilt, I knew I wanted something really special, something rich, and something really meaningful. That's when I remembered the batik fabrics. They were the rage with the ladies at the Quilt Guild in Kuwait, and I knew I could find plenty of them in India. And I still remember my aunt had a person come home and teach her how to make a batik wall hanging at home. Back then it was maybe like 25 years ago or so, and I knew like there were plenty of them, plenty of batik fabric back in India. And so I walked into my regular sari store and found these in the sari blouse material section. The assistant was puzzled, like I said before, and when I said that I was looking for batik for quilting, he was really puzzled, but he was so kind. He pulled out bowls and bowls of vibrant fabric that were neatly arranged on the shelves, and helped me to pick the colors that just spoke to me. And I chose the colors that spoke to me. I didn't follow any traditional rules for color placement. I loved the handmade and the organic texture of the batik fabric. And when combined together with the embroidery and all stitched together in this quilt, it tells the story of our life that is spread across continents, India, Kuwait, and New Zealand. And honestly, I didn't have much of a plan when I pieced this quilt top. Like always, I didn't map anything, didn't measure much, just followed what my heart told me to, and I went along with that flow. That's how I do most things creatively. I'm a multi-crafter, and I embrace all my crafts: knitting, crochet, embroidery, sewing, a little bit of quilting. I never mastered any one single thing because I enjoy the learning and trying and dabbling, and the process of creating, that brings me so much joy. And this quilt is like most of the projects, is not perfect, and I'm not going to let the need for perfection stand in the way of me finishing this quilt. This is a long-standing work in progress. And before I wrap up today, I just wanted to share a couple of tips that I picked up as I was working with these batik fabric. First, definitely pre-wash. And I remember back when we were in India, washing all the fabrics and hanging them on the line back in India, and it looked so colorful and fun. Batik tends to bleed a little, so it's definitely worth that extra step. One of the highlights of the day was Sashiko thread dyeing demonstration, and it was beautiful. And it couldn't have come at a better time. I've been exploring Sashiko tools lately, threads, needles, techniques, just feeling my way through this hand quilting process. So sitting there watching those beautiful pieces being displayed and the thread being created, it felt like a reminder from heaven saying like, you're on the right path, keep going. You know, picking up a few little treasures, just a few. I picked up some beautiful thread, tools, and a couple of fabric. it feels like it's a little souvenir of that lovely day. And it's funny, isn't it, how small things can create these big memories. These aren't just materials that are keepsakes of a beautiful and inspiring, they're keepsakes of my inspiration. So that's how I like to call them. So now I'm back home and back with my Home Sweet Home Quilt. I'm still learning how to hand quilt. I'm learning how different threads have different effects. So for instance, like I said, this is Shashiko thread, and it feels so much easier to work with, whereas the sparkly Spargo thread is a little bit harder to work with. And so my stitches aren't very even. My hand is still recovering, it's still painful, and I cannot work for a long time, and so my hands are really slow, but that's okay. That's part of the story too, and it's about the learning curve. So this isn't about finishing quickly. It's about stitching and learning and having a story to say about my project. The symposium did not just give me a gift of inspiration, it also gave me an energy which reminded me why I started this quilt and why I don't want to rush it. I want to enjoy the whole process of making this quilt, so that every time I look at it, the symposium didn't just give me the gift of ideas, but it also gave me an energy. It reminded me why I started this quilt and why I don't want to rush it. I want to enjoy the process, and that's why it matters so much. And there's really something beautiful about the way inspiration finds us even when we are not looking. A room full of quilts, dyed thread, beauty and color, and all these beautiful tools everywhere in that place. And it was a big refresher for my mind and my soul, and I thoroughly loved being immersed in that atmosphere. And so if you have ever been moved by fabric, by stories, I hope this episode resonates with you. And if you are working on a long lost project or are going to start something new, I hope you'll join me and stitch along with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next episode. Hopefully I would have added more stitches onto this quilt, and it would be progressing towards the finish. So until next time, take care and happy crafting. Bye.